Entering the 2024 season, I think most fans, including myself, believe Nikola Jokic has the crown as the best player in the world. And look, rightfully so, he led Denver to their first championship, was dominant, and played fantastic. But looking across the NBA landscape, I think one superstar, that being Giannis, he's kind of getting undervalued, underrated, and pushed aside just a little bit. As even last year when it came to MVP, in most people's minds, it was Embiid versus Jokic. And Giannis was kind of sitting there, playing fantastic, having a great record, not getting talked about nearly as much as he should be. And of course, in the playoffs versus the Heat, they lost in 5 games, Giannis was hurt. That was a pretty bad series. But lost in all that was what Giannis was doing before that during the regular season. As to date, 2023 was his best season of his career, averaging 31.1 points, the highest of his career, top 5 in the NBA, 11.8 boards, second in the NBA, 5.7 assists on 55% shooting. And what always surprised me about Giannis, he only plays 32 minutes per game. For a superstar player to average 30 points in only 32 minutes, it's pretty absurd historically. And of course that Bucks team last year, again, they lost in the first round, but when Giannis played, they were on a 60-win pace easily. And looking at the Bucks supporting cast last year, again, one of the underrated factors that Chris Middleton only played 33 games. And for around 70% of those games, he was a shell of himself coming off the bench, shooting in the low 30s. And it wasn't until the last 10 games this season into the playoffs, he finally got going. But looking at his numbers overall, he only averaged 15.1 points on substandard Middleton splits. You combine all that together, Giannis being kind of underrated, overlooked, Middleton being hurt, now being healthy in 2024, I think the Bucks this year are in a big bounce back season. And looking back at Giannis, I know NBA 2K ratings, they don't really matter, don't mean anything, and I haven't bought the game since 2017. But like all you guys, I saw the ratings when they finally dropped. And I saw Giannis, he was a 96, tied with LeBron James, Embiid, KD, and Steph Curry. Now of course a 96 is a very, very good rating, but it is kind of confusing seeing Giannis have the same rating as some guys who are bad defenders, average defenders, and have massive playoff drop-offs. Again, 2K doesn't mean that much, but for a guy in Giannis to average basically 31, 12, and 6 in less than 35 minutes per game, to only be a 96, a tad underrated. And I've got a sneaky suspicion, a gut feeling Giannis, after flaming out in the first round last year, coming back being healthy, he's going to have added fuel, added motivation to just go off this season and win MVP. And I think his Bucks team overall will hit 60 wins with ease. And when it comes to MVP, I think it's Giannis versus the field. As Joel Embiid, he's not getting another one. Jokic might coast a little bit, save himself for the playoffs. Luka's overall team is too shaky, inconsistent. And guys like Steph, KD, and LeBron, they're 35 years old plus and bound to miss 15 to 20 games. In my view, 2024 was the year of Giannis, where he kind of replants his flag, reclaims himself as one of the greatest players of all time. And a general rule for superstar players, Hall of Fame players, when you win a championship in a small market, once you accomplish that, you've kind of got a grace period of 2-3 years where it doesn't matter what you do, because the fans just start riding high off their first championship. Look at someone like Dirk. 2011, he won that championship, and post that, didn't win a playoff series the rest of his career. Did Mavs fans really care about that? Not really, because Dirk, like Giannis, gave his franchise that singular championship. Now, the standards for Giannis are a little bit higher, he's younger, and I think 2024 in large part is that last year of the grace period from that 2021 title. And come playoff time, if he doesn't make the NBA Finals, let alone the East Finals, the NBA media at large is becoming for Giannis and questioning how great he really is. And my gut feeling on this, I'm kind of already seeing it, as someone like Kendrick Perkins, who's been kind of quiet about Giannis, not talking about him much, he's come out of the woodwork, giving him some pretty big criticism, as he said point blank, if he guarded Giannis, it would not be a problem. And there's only two guys, that being Embiid and Jokic, who he couldn't handle on the block. And he even went one step further, saying the following players from his era were better post players than Giannis: Yao Ming, Shaq, Tim Duncan, Sheed, Vin Baker, Anthony McDyess, and Jermaine O'Neal. Half those guys were elite post players, elite post scorers, and probably better than Giannis. The other half were average to above average and that Giannis tier. And look, Kendrick Perkins was a very good post defender, a big body. When it comes to someone like Giannis, it's going to be really, really hard to stop him in the post, or really just in general on a basketball court. As looking back at 2023, when again, a post scoring Giannis ranked 8th in field goals made, and among those top 8 players, ranked 5th in field goal percentage. Looking at 2022, he was even better, ranking 4th in made field goals and 2nd in field goal percentage among the top 4. I would say being a perennial top 10 post scorer, closer to top 5. In my book, that qualifies as an elite post player. And what Perk estimates really heavily is, unlike his era 2023, the transition play, fast break play, it's the name of the game. And for Perkins' era, the 2000s, early 2010s, the only really big power forward center guys who could handle the ball like Giannis, I would say, were Chris Webber and Kevin Garnett. Maybe I'm forgetting a couple, but those two guys come to mind as great big guys who could run the floor and dominate in transition. Now, looking at Giannis in 2023, when it came to fast break play, he averaged 9.3 points per game. That was first in the NBA by a mile. And among the top 10 players, he ranked 2nd in field goal percentage at 60%. Looking at 2022, once again, first by a long shot, averaging 8.5 points. And among the top 10, ranked 3rd in percentage at 58.4. Could Perkins guard Giannis for a couple of plays, a quarter, maybe even a whole game? I don't put it past him. Kendrick Perkins was a pretty good post defender and defender in general. But again, for someone of Giannis' caliber, in today's NBA, where offense is king, he's going to get his points, get his free throws, his putback dunks, easy chip shots, and he's going to score at least 30 points pretty easily. And when it comes to Giannis versus Perk, on and off the court, I think the Greek Freak pretty easily has dominated this rivalry, as really every Kendrick Perkins-Giannis take has been debunked, proven false, and just swatted away by the fans and completely discredited. Now, going full circle with this video, looking at the Bucks' core players for 2024, those guys are getting a little bit up there in age. Chris Middleton being 32, coming off injury, Jrue Holiday 33, and Brook Lopez 35. And believe it or not, Giannis, this year in 2024 will be his 10th NBA season. Time flies in the NBA, and a guy's prime can be over just like that. So, as always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.